What's up, bitch? Oh my god, I just started this episode saying what's up, bitch, when I'm about to talk about um why a lot of us women don't exactly love being called females. Oh my god, it's such a big deal. Honestly, I did not care about this in the first place. I already know people are misogynistic. I also know women are misandrous. Like, people are petty, whatever, but yeah, when you hear the word female refer to a woman, sometimes it depends on the context. So let me start off with why I'm making this video, because this is like such a big deal on the recent episode of my favorite podcast, which isn't really my favorite anymore. I'm getting kind of annoyed. Like, I'm starting to hate watch it. Like, I love to hate watch stuff, and the H3 podcast is something I love to hate watch. And so the subreddit of the podcast was like kind of trying to figure out. Oh no. The first post on the subreddit that Ethan Klein decided to platform on his channel to talk about was a post in which a girl was calling out men, specifically the men on the podcast, and their use of the term female to describe women. A good example would be like when females do this, or like there's a group of females who do, or like females like to do this. Like, just saying female as a noun. My god, my denture slipping. Ew. Saying female as a noun instead of a verb. Because then the other argument was like, oh, well, what if it's like using the word female as an adjective to describe something like a female athlete, or a female doctor, or a female porn star, or a female hooker, a female slut. You know what I mean? And I think there's like nuance to it. And as someone who recognizes the frivolity, is that the word, frivolous? The superfluousness. I'm trying to find words. Just, it's like kind of pointless to be like the word police, because it's like, if someone knows something's kind of offensive or hurtful and they want to double down on it, then there really is no point in trying to teach them. But like, let's say there is someone who uses the term female and doesn't realize it's like the way it comes off. Like, if it's like an autistic dude who says female, and you know that he's like kind of autistic, or she's autistic, it's kind of like, okay, I'm not going to get mad at someone for doing something that they're not trying to do to hurt someone. Like, everything's about intention to me. So like, the argument is that a lot of times in like red pill circles, incel circles in which the idea is that women are the enemy, or women are like an object, and they refer to women as females. But then you have to also remember that people who use the word female in that context also objectify other men, and they seem to objectify everything and see everything as a game anyways. So like, why would you even care about their opinion? Because that's something I thought about too. It's like the same people who say female in like kind of a, when I say derogatory, I don't want to say derogatory, but more like in a dismissive way, like, oh, you're just a female, you're just a fucking specimen of the female variety, kind of like really making it clinical and taking the humanity out of the idea of a woman. It's the same people who say alpha male and sigma male and beta male. So it's like, they're actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like they call each other males too. Like, the people who say this objectify themselves, each other, and women are like the conquest. And I think that's where that comes into, where it gets a little bit like, oh, okay. But the difference is, because men are going to be like, I don't care. And men are like, we don't care if you call us male. You know what I mean? And that is like the same as a white guy being like, oh, well, I don't care if you call me a cracker, so why do you care if I say a racial slur to you? It's like, because white people have never been oppressed. Or at least, like, get mad at me for saying this. I know people are going to be like, oh, you're such a SJW, but like, who cares? I don't care. If you think that, you're an asshole and I don't care about your opinion. So, like, if you think I'm an SJW and that makes me a bad person, then I don't care about your opinion because I'm making these videos and like this little pick me girl inside of me, the little misogynist inside of me who wants guys to think I'm cool. Because this is the problem. Guys will think I'm cool. Guys will think I'm funny. And then I start, coming from the perspective of like a woman or from like an empathetic human, and people get mad and people are like, oh, you're an SJW. It's like, okay, no, I'm just like not a shitty person. I don't like hurting people's feelings. So it's like there's a group of people telling you that this hurts their feelings and none of them know each other, and it's just because of like a similar experience. Like, yeah, you're gonna be like, oh, well, maybe I should quit it because I don't want to actually hurt anyone's feelings. I don't want to make women uncomfortable. I don't want to make people of this race or gender or, identity feel uncomfortable about it. It's a safety thing innately. Like when people start doing things that are microaggressive, I think that's the thing too with the whole like calling someone a female or referring to women as a whole as females. Because I think it's a little different if it's like, oh, my doctor's a female. It's like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not good. But it's like, if you're like, oh, females tend to only see men as ATMs, which is like, okay, so if you guys call women females, then we should be able to call you betas, scrotes, or ATMs. Because I know that men don't care if they're called male, but I'm sure they would not like to be referred to by a group of women as ATMs. Because that is something men get insecure about, where it's like, oh, all she wants me is for my money. Or like, oh, am I just an ATM to you? So it's like, maybe if there was like a generational, cultural, like uprising of men only being referred to as ATMs, as something demeaning. And that's where it's like, you have to like, that's the only way people empathize is if they empathize. It's like if they could actually relate it to themselves and be like, oh, that does kind of suck. Maybe I should stop. Because it's like with white people who are like, oh, well, why could black people say the N-word? Why can't I say the N-word, but they could call me a cracker? I don't care if you call me a cracker. It's like, yeah, because the word cracker was never used to oppress someone. Now, a white person being called racist, that gets to them. And if everyone just started calling every white person racist, it would make white people probably think twice. It either make them double down or it would make them think twice about coming off racist. So it's like, if men don't stop calling women females like in that way. But anyways, what the thing is though, men who call women female like that, or a group of women and refer to women as a whole as females because they're dehumanizing them. Because like I said, it's about the context. It's about the context. I only ever hear like this terminology being used in a microaggressive way when it's coming from asshole, red pill, incel types. And then it's like, why do you care about their opinion? Why do you care about what they call you? They could literally call me a stupid slut, whore, bitch, motherless cunt. And like, it wouldn't matter because it's coming from those people. So it's like, why give them that power? But it was interesting to see this being argued on a podcast that I think I'm starting to get a little too old for. I think I'm becoming a little too old for like, I'm starting to think that because I'm like hearing these things and I'm like, a lot of this is just common sense. But it's like a lot of the discourse being had over it is just like a lot of like defensive people getting upset that they can't say or do whatever they want. It's like a little bratty kid who's like, oh, I'm not allowed to push this button. Let me push this button. Even though I had otherwise I had no interest in pushing this button, but now I want to because it's going to piss people off. It's like that contrarian. So it's like maybe the way to actually fix this incel shit is if everyone leans into it and they're just like, okay, yeah, call us female, whatever. I don't care. Like, do whatever you want. I'm just not going to talk to you. Like, I'm going to ignore you. But I don't know, sometimes that might make things worse. I don't know. I just want people to like fucking respect each other, bro. That's it. I don't know. I think this video is a little all over the place. My whole point is like, okay, why is the term female when you're talking about a group of women or a woman, and you are otherwise showing no real respect towards them. And on top of it, you're like, females do this. Or like, sup my kings. Like, when you want to talk to a female, you're going to have to do this, this, and that. And it's like, cool, because all we are dumb fucking bitches with vaginas and no intellect, no personality, no thoughts. All we are is the manifestation of our chromosomes, because literally a female could be a cat, it could be a dog, it could be a flower, it could be a fucking it's a female, it's a fucking sex, and that does take the humanity away. Usually it's like when you identify a dead body, you say female, usually to make it clinical and take away the emotion out of it, the humanity out of it, because you want it to be as, clinical and, what's the word? I said clinical like 80 times. Like, you know what I mean? Like John Doe, Mexican, male, you know what I'm saying? It's just a descriptor that has no, like, I'm fucking dumb right now, dude. It's because he's dead. My teeth hurt. I actually don't care that much. This was probably the wrong topic to talk about because, I'm the kind of person who calls people bitch, hoe, like, maybe this is a little too SJW for me. I don't know. But, like, I will not talk to a guy I don't talk to people. But I wouldn't want to be friends with someone who is a dude who had such little experience with women that they could only look at them as female because they're so separate from them. Like, it's such a, like, separation. I think that's what it is. It's like it feels weird. It's like, oh, females. It's like, have you never talked to a woman before? Like, it's like the Tips Fedora. It's like, oh, the specimen of the female variety. Like, shit, that would be better. At least add some fucking, like, syntax to it. Sophisticated syntax. Can you guys notice my dentures? Anyways, I don't know, guys. I just thought it was interesting. If there's a lady watching this, do you care? Like, personally, do you care if men say the term females as a noun? Because then the other part of the argument was like, oh, well, what if it's an adjective, like a female prostitute? Because let's see. A female cunt. A female horrible person. Like, I don't know. I have a grandma teeth right now, bruh. Them dick suckies. I know, I also think it's important to, like, I want shit to stay funny, though, because a lot of this, like, SJW rhetoric, a lot of these, like, arguments between men and women, because it's, like, I think that there has to be, like, a level playing field, and these discussions do have to be had, and the, fourth wave feminism has ruined everything. It's also, like, this, a lot of the times, a lot of these girls that are, like, touting feminism are also promoting being sluts on OnlyFans because it's, like, empowering. I don't think, like, I am kind of traditional when it comes to, like, it's like, if you don't want people to call you a slut, don't act like a slut, right? But if it's, like, a girl who never acts like a slut, who's always prim and proper, and she's being called a slut just because she has a vagina, like, I could see why that would be really sexist. It's not, like, necessarily sexist to look at a girl who has big fake titties and, like, she could still be a good person. She could still be a smart person. She could still be, but she is a slut. She's playing into the slut archetype. So it's like, if you say the word female when you already know how many girls hate it, it's like you are going to look like an incel. That's just how I see it. Like, okay, you're going to have to reap what you sow then. Because it's like, if you insist on acting a certain way that society has already decided is going to assign a description to that. Like now we all think people who say the word females to describe women, they are going to look like incels who have never talked to a woman, because if they have, they would know how weird and off-putting it is to have us be described as nothing but the term, the noun to describe our sex organs. It's pretty much like the pre-Pokemon evolution of the term breeder. Which you could say, like, if you say it ironically, like, I will make jokes. I will play into the, like, I'll call dudes scrotes because it's funny. But I'm not actually going to think every man is a scrote. You know what I mean? Because I don't hate all men. I hate people. I think the human condition is fucked up. And I don't think the state of our society currently is going in a trajectory that is positive and uniting. If anything, I think it's making it harder for us to get along. But I make jokes, and sometimes those jokes are going to go over people's heads or it's going to be offensive. But I won't make a racist joke because now I know how fucked up that is, and it's usually not funny because I'm not a comedian, and it's like it might probably comes off the wrong way, even though in my head it's supposed to be clever. But it's like if it's at the expense of someone else and their identity, maybe it's not worth it. Or write something that is clever enough to warrant saying something that's offensive. That's what comedians do. The people who get paid to be funny and edgy, not regular people on Reddit who usually aren't very funny and are trying to say it's their freedom of speech. It's like, yeah, you have the freedom of speech to be an asshole, and I have the freedom of speech to think you're a piece of shit, right? A lot of it is just kind of accepting that you can't control other people. You can only control yourself. You can only control your reaction. But yeah, this video was just pretty much like, why is the word female to describe a woman kind of degrading? And it's like, because it takes the humanity out of who we are as women. Women power, bitch. Girl power, bitch. Okay, I'm out. Bye.